Seattle. Rain-heavy morning. Gray skies hanging low over the waterfront like the city itself was tired. Inside the newly renovated Harbor Point Executive Transit Terminal, wealthy travelers moved through polished marble floors dragging designer luggage, while digital departure boards reflected against towering glass walls. Interesting terminal. Very expensive terminal. Private lounges. Luxury rail suites. Corporate transit access. A place built carefully for people who liked pretending struggle only happened somewhere else. At 8:14 a.m., the entire atmosphere changed because an old man walked through the front doors with a limp. Interesting veteran. Very invisible veteran. His name was Nathan Cross. 62 years old. Former Navy SEAL. Retired maritime reconnaissance specialist. 2 reconstructed knees. Partial nerve damage in left hip. Silver beard. Quiet eyes. And beside him, always beside him, walked a massive sable German Shepherd Service K9 named Atlas. Interesting dog. Very disciplined dog. Atlas wore a faded tactical service harness with old military stitching near the collar. Scar above right eye. Broad chest. Calm amber stare. The kind of dog people instinctively moved away from. Good instinct. Very correct instinct. Nathan stopped near the crowded waiting lounge overlooking the rain-covered train platforms. Every seat was occupied. Corporate executives. Wealthy tourists. Business travelers pretending not to notice the old disabled veteran standing beside his cane. Interesting crowd. Very predictable crowd. Atlas immediately positioned himself against Nathan's damaged leg. Protective posture. Not aggressive. Supportive. Good dog. Very good service dog. Nathan scanned the room quietly. No anger. No entitlement. Just exhaustion. Interesting man. Very tired man. Then he noticed one open chair near the charging station. Small thing. Simple thing. But before Nathan could reach it, a sharply dressed terminal manager stepped directly into his path. Interesting manager. Very arrogant manager. "Sir," the man said coldly, "that seating area is reserved for executive passengers." Nathan looked at the chair. No signage. No reservation tags. Just another invisible rule for invisible people. Interesting terminal. Very ugly terminal. Nathan nodded once. Didn't see a sign. The manager forced a thin smile. "Then let me help you." The tone wasn't helpful. It was humiliating. Intentional humiliation. Interesting man. Very practiced man. Several nearby travelers glanced over briefly, then looked away. Of course they did. Interesting crowd. Very cowardly crowd. Atlas noticed the manager's tone immediately. The German Shepherd rose slightly taller beside Nathan. Alert now. Good dog. Very emotionally intelligent dog. The manager saw it too. His expression hardened instantly. "We also can't allow the animal blocking pedestrian flow." Nathan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Service K9. I'll need documentation." Wrong sentence. Very wrong sentence. Nathan slowly reached toward his coat pocket, but pain shot through his hip suddenly. Sharp. Unexpected. He stumbled slightly. Atlas immediately braced against him. Good dog. Very good partner. The manager sighed dramatically loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "This is exactly why we have policies." Boom. There it is. Interesting manager. Very small man. Then, from across the terminal, came the sound of wheels rolling slowly over marble. A cleaning cart. Interesting entrance. Very quiet entrance. A woman in a worn Navy janitor jacket pushed the cart through the lobby while replacing trash liners and wiping rainwater from the floor near the entrance doors. Nobody noticed her. Of course they didn't. People rarely notice janitors. Interesting society. Very blind society. Her name tag read Maria Vega, late 50s. Dark silver-streaked hair tied back tightly. Tired eyes. Worn gloves. Nothing about her looked important. That was the mistake. Very big mistake. Atlas saw her instantly. Interesting. Very interesting. The German Shepherd froze completely. Not aggressive. Not protective. Focused. Good dog. Very good instincts. Nathan noticed immediately. "What is it, boy?" Atlas ignored him. The dog's eyes locked directly onto Maria's jacket. Specifically, A tiny faded military pin attached near the collar. Old, worn, nearly invisible. Good lord. Interesting pin. Very dangerous pin. Then Atlas slowly stood taller. Ears lifting. Body rigid. And for the first time since entering Harbor Point Terminal, the combat train service K9 completely stopped paying attention to everyone else in the room, including the manager, including Nathan. The manager frowned nervously. "What's wrong with your dog?" Nathan didn't answer, because suddenly, he recognized the pin too, and all the color slowly drained from his face. Maria Vega noticed the dog staring. Interesting woman. Very observant woman. Most people ignored her completely while she worked, but military dogs never ignored details. Good dogs noticed everything. Atlas slowly walked forward one careful step. No growling. No aggression. Recognition. Good dog. Very good memory. Nathan's breathing changed immediately. The old SEAL veteran stared at the faded pin attached to Maria's janitor jacket. Impossible. No, absolutely impossible. The manager stepped backward nervously. "Sir, control your animal." Atlas ignored him completely. The giant German shepherd now stood directly facing Maria. The entire terminal slowly began noticing. Interesting atmosphere. Very sudden atmosphere. Travelers stopped typing. Executives lowered phones. Security guards glanced over. Because the service K9 wasn't behaving randomly. He looked emotional. Good lord. Interesting dog. Very unusual dog. Maria carefully stopped the cleaning cart. Her eyes met Atlas's, then froze. Interesting reaction. Very revealing reaction. The woman's face changed instantly. Not fear. Recognition. Boom. There it is. Nathan whispered softly. "No way." Maria's tired hands tightened around the cart handle. Then Atlas did something that made the entire terminal go silent. The retired military K9 slowly sat down in front of her. Perfect posture. Perfect stillness. Then, he lowered his head respectfully beside her worn janitor shoes. Good lord. Interesting dog. Very devastating moment. The manager stared in disbelief. What the hell? Nathan stepped forward slowly despite the pain in his leg. His eyes remained locked on the pin. Old insignia. Old unit. Officially buried years ago. Interesting deployment. Very classified deployment. Then Nathan finally spoke. Voice barely working. "Where did you get that emblem?" Maria looked at him quietly. Rain hammered the giant terminal windows behind them, while wealthy travelers stood frozen, watching the impossible interaction unfold beside the cleaning cart. Then the janitor answered softly. "My brother wore it." Silence. Interesting silence. Very painful silence. Nathan's throat tightened. What was his name? Maria hesitated, then quietly answered. Gabriel Vega. The old veteran physically staggered backward. Atlas whined softly. Good dog. Very emotional dog. Because Gabriel Vega wasn't just another soldier. He was supposed to be dead. The terminal became silent enough to hear rain hitting glass. Interesting silence. Very heavy silence. Nathan Cross stared at Maria Vega like he had just seen a ghost pushing a cleaning cart through Harbor Point Executive Terminal. Because maybe he had. Interesting woman. Very impossible woman. Atlas remained seated perfectly in front of her. Head lowered respectfully. The giant German shepherd looked calmer than he had all morning. Good dog. Very good instincts. The arrogant terminal manager glanced nervously between them. What exactly is going on here? Nobody answered him. Because suddenly, nothing else in the terminal mattered. Nathan slowly pointed toward the faded military pin on Maria's jacket. That insignia belonged to Blackwater Echo Unit. Maria's expression changed instantly. Interesting reaction. Very guarded reaction. You know it. Nathan laughed once. Short, broken, humorless. I wore it. Boom. There it is. Interesting veteran. Very haunted veteran. Several nearby travelers leaned closer, now pretending not to eavesdrop. Of course they were. People loved hidden drama once it became safe enough. Interesting crowd. Very predictable crowd. Maria stared at Nathan carefully. My brother said only 7 men survived Blackwater Echo. Nathan nodded slowly. 6. Silence detonated through the lobby. Interesting number. Very painful number. Atlas whined softly again. The old German shepherd moved closer beside Maria now like he recognized grief itself. Good dog. Very emotionally intelligent dog. The manager scoffed nervously. Look, whatever reunion this is, you still can't block executive seating. Wrong sentence. Very wrong sentence. Nathan turned toward him slowly. Not angry. Worse. Cold. Do you know what Blackwater Echo was? The manager folded his arms defensively. No. Then stop talking. Boom. There it is. The power shift. Interesting manager. Very small now. Maria quietly touched the faded pin near her collar. My brother disappeared in 1998. Nathan swallowed hard. Interesting year. Very cursed year. Blackwater Echo. Officially, Maritime Anti-Trafficking Reconnaissance Mission near the Philippine Corridor. Unofficially, a disaster buried so deeply half the government pretended it never happened. Interesting operation. Very ugly operation. Nathan lowered himself slowly into a nearby bench despite the pain shooting through his hip. Atlas immediately rested beside him while keeping eyes on Maria. Always watching her. Good dog. Very certain dog. Then Nathan quietly asked, "Who told you Gabriel died?" Maria's face darkened. The Navy. Did they return a body? No. There wasn't one. Silence. Good Lord. Interesting answer. Very devastating answer. Maria's breathing changed slightly, because somewhere deep down, she already knew that. Nathan rubbed tired hands together slowly. Rain reflected across the polished terminal floor while travelers openly stared now. Interesting terminal. Very uncomfortable terminal. Then Maria whispered the question she clearly carried for decades. You knew my brother? Nathan's eyes darkened immediately. He saved my life. Boom. There it is. Interesting soldier. Very important soldier. Atlas suddenly lifted his head sharply toward Maria again. Focused. Listening. Then Nathan noticed something else attached beneath the pin on her janitor jacket. A tiny engraved silver compass. Old military issue. His stomach dropped instantly. Impossible. Interesting compass. Very dangerous compass. Nathan stood again too quickly. Pain shot through his hip. Atlas instantly braced him before he fell. Good dog. Very good partner. Nathan pointed shakily toward the compass. Where did you get that? Maria hesitated. Bad sign. Very bad sign. Then quietly answered. My brother mailed it before the mission. The old veteran went pale. Because that compass wasn't ordinary memorabilia. It was a dead-drop marker. A classified navigation key only Blackwater Echo operatives carried during covert maritime deployments. Interesting package. Very buried secret. Then Nathan whispered the sentence that changed everything. Gabriel knew he wasn't coming home. Silence crushed the terminal. The manager tried interrupting again. Sir, I'm going to need you to calm down or... Atlas stood instantly. Not barking. Not growling. Worse. Military alert posture. Good dog. Very good warning. The manager stopped speaking immediately. Smart decision. Very smart decision. Then Maria slowly reached inside her worn janitor jacket and removed an old waterproof envelope sealed in military wax. Good Lord. Interesting envelope. Very explosive envelope. Nathan stared at it like it might detonate. My brother said, Maria whispered softly, if anyone from Blackwater Echo ever recognized the compass. She swallowed hard. I was supposed to give them this. Atlas slowly moved closer beside her. The German shepherd's breathing deepened. Not fear. Recognition. Good dog. Very good instincts. Nathan carefully took the envelope with trembling hands. Then froze immediately after seeing the handwriting across the front. For Nathan Cross only. And somewhere outside beyond the rain-covered terminal windows, a black SUV slowly pulled up to the curb. Nathan Cross saw the SUV immediately. Interesting vehicle. Very bad vehicle. Black. Unmarked. Government-grade tinted windows reflecting Seattle rain beneath the Harbor Point terminal lights. The engine remained running. That mattered. Interesting detail. Very dangerous detail. Atlas noticed it too. The retired Service K-9 instantly shifted posture beside Nathan. Protective now. Not emotional anymore. Operational. Good dog. Very good instincts. Maria Vega followed Nathan's gaze through the rain-covered terminal glass. Her face slowly drained of color. Interesting reaction. Very revealing reaction. You know them. Nathan didn't answer immediately, because he already knew the truth. If Gabriel Vega's classified envelope resurfaced after 24 years, someone had been watching for it. Interesting package. Very buried package. The arrogant terminal manager looked completely lost now. What is happening here? Nobody cared enough to explain it to him. Interesting manager. Very unimportant manager now. Nathan carefully slipped the waterproof envelope beneath his coat while Atlas moved slightly in front of Maria. The German Shepherd's ears locked toward the entrance doors. Good dog. Very alert dog. Then the SUV doors opened. 3 men stepped out. Civilian clothing. Military movement. Interesting men. Very professional men. One traveler nearby noticed them too and whispered nervously. Those guys federal? Wrong question. Much worse than federal. Nathan's breathing slowed. Old training. Interesting veteran. Very dangerous calm veteran. Maria pushed the cleaning cart backward slightly. You know them. This time Nathan answered. Yes. Boom. There it is. Interesting past. Very ugly past. The 3 men entered the terminal together beneath the automatic sliding doors, while rainwater dripped from dark coats onto polished marble floors. The lead man was older. Late 60s. White hair. Perfect posture. The kind of man who looked harmless until you noticed nobody around him relaxed naturally. Interesting man. Very deadly man. Nathan recognized him instantly. Arthur Keene. Former Naval Intelligence Oversight Director. One of the men who signed off on Blackwater Echo. Good Lord. Interesting official. Very buried official. Atlas growled low beneath his breath. Keene's eyes immediately dropped toward the dog. Recognition flashed briefly across his face. Interesting. Very revealing. Then he looked toward Nathan. Nathan. The old SEAL veteran didn't move. Arthur. Interesting greeting. Very cold greeting. The terminal crowd openly watched now. Travelers sensed danger instinctively even when they didn't understand it. Maria stood frozen beside the cleaning cart while Atlas slowly positioned himself between her and Keene. Good dog. Very good protector. Keene noticed the movement instantly. He remembers her. Nathan's jaw tightened. Dogs usually remember people who matter. Boom. There it is. Interesting answer. Very pointed answer. The terminal manager finally attempted regaining authority. Sir, if there's a security concern. Keene casually showed credentials. The manager's face immediately changed. Fear. Good. Very good. The manager stepped backward instantly. Interesting crowd. Very fast loyalty shift. Keene returned his attention toward Nathan. You shouldn't have opened the envelope here. Nathan answered coldly. You shouldn't have buried my unit. Silence detonated through the lobby. Interesting sentence. Very loaded sentence. Maria stared between them. My brother wasn't killed in action, was he? Nobody answered immediately. Atlas whined softly beside her. Good dog. Very emotional dog. Then Keene quietly said the worst possible thing. Gabriel Vega compromised the mission. Nathan moved before thinking. Fast despite the cane. The old veteran grabbed Keene by the coat hard enough to stagger him backward. The entire terminal gasped. Interesting veteran. Still dangerous veteran. Atlas stood instantly. Not aggressive. Guarding. Always guarding. Nathan's voice turned deadly quiet. Gabriel saved civilians your operation wanted erased. Boom. There it is. Interesting deployment. Very catastrophic deployment. Keene's expression hardened immediately. You have no idea what Blackwater Echo uncovered. Nathan released him slowly. Human trafficking routes protected by military contractors. The silence afterward became unbearable. Interesting terminal. Very explosive terminal now. Nearby executives openly stopped pretending not to listen. Maria's hands trembled around the cleaning cart handle. My brother found trafficked civilians? Nathan looked at her. Pain filled his face instantly. Children. Good Lord. Interesting mission. Very horrifying mission. Maria physically staggered backward. Atlas immediately moved beside her and gently pressed against her leg. Good dog. Very compassionate dog. Keen lowered his voice carefully. This conversation ends now. Wrong sentence. Very wrong sentence. Then Nathan noticed something terrifying. One of Keen's men wasn't watching him. He was watching the envelope beneath Nathan's coat. Interesting. Very important. And suddenly Nathan understood. They didn't come for him. They came for whatever Gabriel left behind. Rain hammered the terminal windows harder. Interesting weather. Very cinematic weather. Inside Harbor Point Executive Terminal, nobody moved anymore. Travelers openly stared. Security guards hovered nervously. The terminal manager looked seconds away from disappearing entirely. And at the center of it all stood an old disabled Navy SEAL veteran holding a classified envelope from a dead deployment nobody was supposed to mention. Interesting veteran. Very unlucky veteran. Atlas remained perfectly still beside Maria Vega. The retired service K-9 never took his eyes off Arthur Keen's men. Good dog. Very intelligent dog. Nathan slowly backed toward the waiting benches. Not retreating. Creating distance. Different thing entirely. Keen noticed. Of course he did. Interesting official. Very observant official. Nathan, Keen said carefully. You're making this public unnecessarily. Nathan laughed once. Cold laugh. Humorless laugh. You brought 3 cleanup men into a public terminal. Boom. There it is. Interesting logic. Very correct logic. Maria finally spoke again. Voice shaking now. My brother knew he was going to die. Didn't he? Silence. Interesting silence. Very painful silence. Nathan looked down at the envelope beneath his coat. Then slowly answered, yes. The word hit her like a bullet. Atlas immediately leaned gently against her leg again. Good dog. Very emotionally intelligent dog. Maria's eyes filled instantly. But the Navy said. The Navy lied. Boom. There it is. Interesting government. Very familiar government. Keen's jaw tightened visibly. Enough. Nathan ignored him completely. He mailed you that compass because he knew somebody would come looking for whatever he discovered. Maria whispered. What did he discover? Nathan stared toward the rain-covered windows. Old memories rising again. Philippines coastline. Cargo freighters. Night operations. Children locked below deck. Interesting memory. Very terrible memory. Then Nathan finally answered. Proof. Interesting word. Very dangerous word. Keen stepped forward carefully. The envelope belongs to federal oversight. Wrong move. Very wrong move. Atlas stood instantly between them. The giant German shepherd's posture changed completely now. No longer relaxed service posture. Combat posture. Good dog. Very good read. The entire terminal backed away automatically. Even security guards hesitated. Because military dogs moved differently when serious. And Atlas looked deadly serious. Keen stopped walking immediately. Smart man. Very smart instinct. Nathan slowly sat down on the waiting bench with visible pain shooting through his hip. Atlas instantly repositioned beside him protectively. Good dog. Very loyal dog. Then Nathan carefully opened the envelope. Interesting envelope. Very explosive envelope. Inside sat old photographs, coded shipping manifests, handwritten coordinates. 1 cassette tape. 1 blood-stained mission patch. Good Lord. Interesting evidence. Very catastrophic evidence. Maria covered her mouth seeing the patch. That's Gabriel's. Nathan picked up the photographs first, and immediately went pale, because the photos showed military cargo containers, filled with children. Boom. There it is. The real horror. Interesting mission. Very evil mission. Nearby travelers who accidentally glimpsed the photos looked sick instantly. One woman whispered, "Oh my God." Keen's voice became sharp now. Close the envelope. Nathan ignored him. Then he found the cassette tape. Old military handwriting across the label. If we don't come back, release everything. Silence crushed the terminal. Interesting tape. Very dangerous tape. Keen's men subtly shifted positions. Nathan noticed immediately. So did Atlas. The German shepherd's growl returned. Low. Controlled. Ancient. Good dog. Very good warning. Then Maria whispered the question nobody wanted answered. Did my brother survive long enough to send this? Nathan's eyes darkened. No. Silence detonated again. Maria looked shattered instantly. Interesting woman. Very strong woman barely holding together. Nathan carefully turned the cassette tape over. Then froze. Interesting. Very interesting. A second message was scratched faintly beneath the label. Not just the children. They took the dogs too. Atlas suddenly stood rigid. Good Lord. Interesting sentence. Very horrifying sentence. Nathan's blood ran cold. Because Blackwater Echo used military K-9 units during the operation. Which meant the trafficking network wasn't just moving civilians. They were moving combat dogs too. Experimental ones. Atlas barked sharply once. Not random. Recognition. Good dog. Very good instincts. Keen saw Nathan realize it. And for the first time since entering the terminal, the old intelligence officer actually looked nervous. Then the cassette tape recorder announcement overhead suddenly cut to static. The entire terminal lights flickered once. Twice. Bad. Very bad. Atlas instantly moved closer against Nathan's leg. Protective. Ready. Then every digital departure board inside Harbor Point Terminal switched simultaneously to black. Interesting timing. Very deliberate timing. One sentence slowly appeared across all the screens. Return the envelope. The terminal erupted into panic. Panic spread through Harbor Point Executive Terminal instantly. Interesting crowd. Very fragile crowd. Business travelers grabbed luggage. Executives shouted into phones. Security guards rushed toward flickering control panels, while every digital departure board continued displaying the same sentence. Return the envelope. Rain hammered the massive terminal windows like gunfire. Interesting timing. Very coordinated timing. Nathan Cross slowly stood despite the pain burning through his hip. Atlas immediately rose beside him. Protective posture. Good dog. Very good instincts. Arthur Keene stared upward at the screens grimly. That wasn't us. Boom. There it is. Interesting answer. Very bad answer. Because if Keene's people didn't hijack the system, someone worse had. Maria Vega clutched the cleaning cart tightly. What's happening? Nathan's eyes remained fixed on the terminals. Somebody found Gabriel's package. Interesting package. Very dangerous package. Then the overhead lights flickered again. The giant lobby darkened briefly before emergency backup systems activated. Red emergency strips illuminated the polished marble floors. Warzone lighting. Interesting terminal. Very different terminal now. Atlas growled low. Focused. Not at Keene. At the east entrance. Good dog. Very good. Wrong boots. Wrong posture. Wrong eyes. Professional predators pretending clean floors mattered to them. Interesting men. Very dangerous men. Keene saw them too. And for the first time since arriving, the old intelligence officer looked genuinely alarmed. Interesting reaction. Very revealing reaction. Move, he snapped. Nathan didn't hesitate. Atlas moved first. The German shepherd immediately positioned himself between Maria and the approaching men while Nathan grabbed the envelope beneath his coat. Travelers scattered sideways instinctively. Interesting crowd. Good survival instincts finally. One of the fake maintenance workers calmly reached into a toolbox. Not tools. Suppressed pistol. Good Lord. Interesting toolbox. Very illegal toolbox. Keene shouted instantly. Down. The first shot shattered a terminal monitor behind Nathan's head. Glass exploded across the lobby. Screaming erupted everywhere. Interesting terminal. Very active terminal now. Atlas barked once. Sharp. Military alert bark. Good dog. Very good protector. Nathan shoved Maria behind a marble support pillar, while Keene's men returned fire from near the ticket counters. The fake maintenance workers moved with terrifying efficiency. Not random shooters. Contractors. Professional cleanup team. Interesting operation. Very buried operation. One attacker advanced directly toward Nathan. Not firing wildly. Focused. Targeting the envelope. Boom. There it is. Interesting priority. Very important envelope. Atlas launched before the man got within 10 feet. The German shepherd hit him full force beside the luxury seating lounge and drove him into a row of metal chairs hard enough to collapse them. Perfect strike. Good dog. Very good soldier. The attacker's weapon skidded across the polished floor. Passengers screamed and crawled behind kiosks. Nathan grabbed the pistol first. Old instincts waking fast. Interesting veteran. Still operational veteran. Then another contractor shouted, "Secure the package." Huge mistake. Massive mistake. Atlas heard it too. The retired Service K-9 immediately pivoted toward the second shooter. Combat mode fully awake now. Good dog. Very dangerous dog. The man fired once. Nathan returned fire instantly. The bullet shattered the marble pillar beside the contractor's head. Close. Very close. Then Keen barked toward Nathan over the chaos. "They'll keep coming." Nathan shouted back. "Who are they?" Keen's face darkened. "Private Retrieval Division." Boom. There it is. Interesting name. Very terrifying name. Maria stared in horror from behind the pillar. "You mean mercenaries?" Keen answered coldly. "Worse." Interesting answer. Very bad answer. Then Atlas suddenly froze. Interesting. Very interesting. The German Shepherd's ears lifted sharply toward the station mezzanine above the lobby. Good dog. Very good instincts. Nathan followed his gaze upward and saw a sniper rifle barrel slowly emerge above the second-floor glass railing. Bad. Very bad. The sniper wasn't aiming at Nathan, or Keen, or the crowd. He was aiming directly at Maria Vega. Good lord. Interesting target. Very revealing target. Nathan understood instantly. Gabriel trusted his sister with the package because she knew something too. The sniper fired. Atlas moved before the sound reached anyone. The German Shepherd slammed full force into Maria and knocked her behind the pillar as the bullet shattered the cleaning cart behind them. Perfect save. Good dog. Very good protector. Metal supplies exploded across the lobby floor. Bleach, paper towels, dirty water, and beneath the overturned cart, something else fell loose. Interesting object. Very unexpected object. A second compass. Everything stopped for 1 second. Interesting second. Very dangerous second. Even Nathan froze seeing the second compass slide across the wet marble floor beneath the destroyed cleaning cart. Identical silver engraving. Identical military markings. Impossible. Interesting compass. Very impossible compass. Maria stared at it in shock. You weren't supposed to see that. Nathan's stomach tightened instantly. Bad sign. Very bad sign. Atlas remained crouched protectively over Maria while gunfire echoed through the far side of the terminal. Keen's men forced civilians toward emergency exits while security alarms screamed overhead. But Nathan only focused on the compass. Because Blackwater Echo operatives only carried one each. One compass per extraction team. And Gabriel Vega's team leader had carried the second. Interesting memory. Very painful memory. Nathan slowly looked up at Maria. Where did you get that? Maria's face changed. Guarded now. Scared now. Interesting woman. Very careful woman. Then one contractor shouted from the mezzanine. She has the second marker. Boom. There it is. Interesting compass. Very important compass. Nathan's blood ran cold. The contractors weren't after the envelope alone. They were after both compasses. Good lord. Interesting mission. Still active mission. Atlas growled harder. The German Shepherd's eyes locked upward toward the sniper above the lobby. Then Nathan understood something terrifying. The dog recognized the symbol too. Interesting dog. Very observant dog. Then Keen rushed toward them beneath flying glass. We need to move now. Nathan grabbed Maria's arm. Back corridors. Interesting veteran. Still tactical veteran. Atlas instantly flanked them as they pushed through panicked travelers toward the employee maintenance hallways behind the terminal lounges. The world behind the public lobby looked completely different. Narrow concrete corridors. Industrial lighting. Maintenance access doors. Interesting terminal. Very layered terminal. Maria struggled keeping up. You need to tell me what's happening. Nathan limped faster despite the pain. Your brother didn't just expose trafficking routes. Boom. There it is. Interesting truth. Very buried truth. He found offshore transfer sites. Maria stared at him. For what? Nathan held up the compass. These weren't navigation tools. Interesting compass. Very explosive compass. They were location keys. Good lord. Interesting operation. Very global operation. Atlas barked sharply once. Warning. Good dog. Very good instincts. Flashing red lights reflected across wet concrete like blood. Warzone visuals. Interesting hallway. Very cinematic hallway. Atlas stayed directly beside Maria despite the gunfire. Not leaving her. Interesting attachment. Very meaningful attachment. Then Nathan realized why. The dog smelled Gabriel on her. Good lord. Interesting connection. Very emotional connection. One contractor advanced through the smoke and sprinkler mist with frightening calm. Older man. Scar across neck. Dead eyes. Interesting man. Very familiar man. Nathan froze seeing him. No! The man stopped too. Recognition. Boom. There it is. Interesting past. Very ugly past. The contractor slowly lowered his weapon slightly. Nathan Cross. Nathan's voice turned ice cold. Ruiz. Maria looked confused between them. You know him? Nathan never looked away from the contractor. He was Blackwater Echo Security Detail. Silence detonated through the corridor. Interesting contractor. Very buried contractor. Ruiz almost smiled. Funny how survivors keep finding each other. Atlas snarled instantly. Good dog. Very good read. Nathan stepped slightly in front of Maria. You sold us out. Ruiz's expression didn't change. You still think Blackwater Echo was about trafficking? Interesting answer. Very terrifying answer. Nathan's jaw tightened. What else was it? Ruiz looked toward the compasses. Then quietly answered. Containment. Boom. There it is. Interesting mission. Very horrifying mission. Before Nathan could react, the entire terminal shook violently. An explosion thundered through the lobby behind them. Smoke rushed into the maintenance corridors instantly, and all the emergency lights went dark. Darkness swallowed the terminal. Interesting darkness. Very tactical darkness. Only emergency backup strips flickered faintly through smoke-filled maintenance corridors while civilians screamed somewhere far behind them near the collapsed lobby entrance. Atlas stayed perfectly still beside Nathan, listening. Good dog. Very disciplined dog. The old veteran's breathing slowed automatically. Training. Memory. Survival. Interesting veteran. Still dangerous veteran. Maria whispered shakily. What just exploded? Ruiz answered from the darkness before anyone else could. The front surveillance hub. Interesting answer. Very revealing answer. Nathan's eyes narrowed. You're trying erase footage. Ruiz laughed once softly. Not footage. Boom. There it is. Interesting contractor. Very terrifying contractor. Facial recognition. Good lord. Interesting operation. Very modern operation. Then Ruiz stepped partially into the dim emergency glow. Weapon lowered slightly now. Not attacking immediately. Interesting. Very interesting. Nathan. You need to understand something before this gets worse. Nathan kept the pistol raised. Too late. Correct answer. Very correct answer. Water from broken sprinkler systems streamed across the concrete floors while smoke drifted through the maintenance corridors. Atlas suddenly moved closer against Maria's side. Protective. Focused. Good dog. Very emotionally intelligent dog. Ruiz noticed immediately. He remembers the scent. Nathan's stomach tightened. What scent? Ruiz's expression darkened. The containers. Silence crushed the hallway. Interesting sentence. Very terrible sentence. Maria whispered. What containers? Nobody wanted to answer that. Then Ruiz finally said it anyway. Submerged transport labs. Boom. There it is. The real horror. Interesting operation. Very monstrous operation. Nathan felt nausea rise instantly, because suddenly the compasses made sense. Offshore coordinates. Deep water transfers. No witnesses. Blackwater Echo never stumbled onto ordinary trafficking. They discovered floating military research sites, hidden beneath commercial shipping lanes. Interesting world. Very evil world. Maria stared in disbelief. My brother found this? Nathan answered quietly. He tried stopping it. Ruiz looked at Nathan carefully. No. Interesting answer. Very important answer. He tried sinking it. Good lord. Interesting soldier. Very brave soldier. Then Ruiz slowly reached into his jacket. Atlas growled immediately. Good dog. Very good instincts. Ruiz stopped, then carefully removed a weather-damaged photograph instead of a weapon. Nathan froze seeing it. Blackwater Echo Unit. All 7 operators standing together aboard a rain-soaked naval transport vessel in 1998. Young faces. Exhausted faces. Gabriel Vega smiling slightly near the back. Interesting photo. Very painful photo. Then Nathan noticed something else. One man in the photo had been scratched out violently. Interesting. Very interesting. Nathan's blood ran cold. Who removed him? Ruiz stared directly at him. The same people hunting the compasses. Boom. There it is. Interesting enemy. Very patient enemy. Maria pointed shakily toward the scratched-out figure. Who was he? Ruiz answered softly. The man who built the underwater sites. Silence detonated again. Interesting silence. Very dangerous silence. Then Atlas suddenly barked sharply toward the far maintenance tunnel. Alert bark. Good dog. Very good warning. Nathan immediately spun toward the darkness. Just as heavy boots echoed through the flooded hallway ahead. Multiple men. Fast. Professional. Interesting timing. Very bad timing. Ruiz cursed under his breath. They brought extraction teams. Nathan tightened grip on the pistol. How many? Then green laser sights suddenly cut through the darkness all around them. Good Lord. Interesting answer. Very bad answer. Too many. Green laser sights covered the hallway. Interesting hallway. Very deadly hallway. Red emergency lights flickered through smoke and sprinkler mist while armed extraction teams slowly advanced through the maintenance tunnels beneath Harbor Point Executive Terminal. Professional movement. Suppressed rifles. Night vision optics. Interesting team. Very expensive team. Nathan Cross instantly pulled Maria behind a steel maintenance support column, while Atlas positioned himself directly between them and the approaching lasers. Good dog. Very good protector. Ruiz swore quietly under his breath. We're out of time. Nathan kept the pistol raised. You ran with these people. Ruiz answered instantly. No. Interesting answer. Very sharp answer. I survived them. Boom. There it is. Interesting contractor. Very haunted contractor. Then the lead extraction operative stepped through the smoke. Tall. Black tactical armor. Voice distorted through comms gear. Interesting man. Very wrong man. Deliver the compasses. Atlas growled deep enough to vibrate the flooded concrete floor. Good dog. Very dangerous dog. Nathan shouted back. Who are you people? The operative answered calmly. Asset Recovery Division. Interesting title. Very fake title. Nathan laughed bitterly. You hunt janitors and old veterans for assets? The operative ignored him completely. His masked face tilted slightly toward Maria. Gabriel Vega violated containment protocols. Maria's eyes filled instantly. You murdered my brother. Silence. Interesting silence. Very truthful silence. The operative never denied it, because monsters rarely bothered lying once they believed they already won. Interesting people. Very dead inside people. Then Ruiz suddenly stepped forward. Bad idea. Very brave idea. He's not giving you the compasses. Every laser sight instantly shifted onto Ruiz. Interesting reaction. Very revealing reaction. The operative tilted his head slightly. Former specialist Ruiz. Boom. There it is. Interesting history. Very ugly history. You survived Manila Harbor longer than projected. Nathan's stomach tightened instantly. Projected. Interesting word. Very evil word. Ruiz slowly lowered his weapon onto the wet floor. I'm done helping you bury people. The operative's voice stayed emotionless. You were never helping. Good Lord. Interesting organization. Very terrifying organization. Then the operative looked toward Atlas, and something changed slightly in his tone. Recognition. Interesting. Very important. That K9 was part of Phase 2 evaluation. Silence detonated through the corridor. Nathan's blood ran cold. Atlas wasn't just Nathan's service dog. The German Shepherd had been connected to Blackwater Echo. Impossible. Interesting dog. Very hidden dog. Nathan stared at Atlas. No. Ruiz answered quietly. Gabriel rescued him. Boom. There it is. Interesting soldier. Very compassionate soldier. Ruiz continued carefully. The underwater sites weren't only moving civilians. Interesting sentence. Very horrifying sentence. They were testing military behavioral imprinting through combat dogs. Good Lord. Interesting operation. Very monstrous operation. Nathan suddenly remembered something buried for decades. Philippines coastline. Burning cargo vessel. A terrified young German shepherd locked inside a steel containment cage below deck. Interesting memory. Very painful memory. Gabriel carrying the frightened dog through smoke while alarms screamed overhead. Good Lord. Interesting rescue. Very heroic rescue. Nathan physically staggered. Atlas immediately pressed against his leg supportively. Good dog. Very loyal soul. Then Nathan realized the truth. Atlas recognized Maria because he remembered Gabriel. Boom. There it is. The entire emotional core. Interesting dog. Very extraordinary dog. Maria slowly dropped to her knees beside Atlas. Tears falling now. My brother saved him. The German shepherd gently lowered his head against her shoulder. Good dog. Very beautiful dog. Then the operative raised his weapon. Enough. Bad. Very bad. Recover the compasses. Every extraction operative advanced simultaneously. Atlas exploded forward instantly. The hallway erupted into violence. Interesting chaos. Very tactical chaos. Atlas hit the first operative hard enough to drive him backward into exposed maintenance piping while Nathan opened fire toward the laser sights cutting through the smoke. Sparks exploded. Water sprayed. Concrete shattered. Warzone visuals. Interesting terminal. Very cursed terminal. Ruiz grabbed Maria and shoved her toward a side access corridor. Move! The old maintenance tunnels beneath Harbor Point suddenly became a battlefield buried underneath Seattle's luxury transit district. Interesting city. Very layered city. Atlas moved like lightning through the flooded corridors. Not random aggression. Precision. Military precision. Good dog. Very elite dog. The German shepherd disabled one operative by attacking the weapon arm, then instantly repositioned beside Nathan again. Protecting. Always protecting. Interesting dog. Very emotionally intelligent dog. Nathan's damaged hip screamed with every movement now. Pain everywhere. Interesting veteran. Still fighting veteran. Then Ruiz shouted from the access tunnel. The service room. Nathan limped after them while Atlas guarded the rear. Bullets tore through the maintenance corridor walls behind them. Close. Very close. Maria stumbled into an underground electrical service chamber beneath the terminal platforms. Huge generators hummed beneath emergency power. Old server racks blinked dimly. Floodwater pooled across the concrete floor. Interesting room. Very hidden room. Ruiz slammed the steel security door shut behind them. Temporary safety. Very temporary safety. Nathan collapsed briefly against a control panel, breathing hard. Atlas instantly checked him, nudging his injured hip carefully. Good dog. Very caring dog. Maria stared at the old photographs and compasses spread across the service table. What is this place? Ruiz answered quietly. Backup relay station. Nathan froze. Interesting phrase. Very familiar phrase. Then he noticed something mounted beside the emergency server rack. Old naval communication equipment. 1990s military issue. Good Lord. Interesting room. Very intentional room. Ruiz saw Nathan recognize it. Gabriel built this safe room himself. Boom. There it is. Interesting soldier. Very prepared soldier. Maria whispered, My brother worked here? Ruiz nodded slowly. After Blackwater Echo. Silence crushed the room. Interesting silence. Very important silence. Nathan stared at him. That's impossible. Officially? Yes. Ruiz slowly removed a waterproof folder hidden behind the electrical cabinet. Interesting folder. Very dangerous folder. Then he handed it directly to Maria. For 24 years, your brother hid evidence under this terminal. Good Lord. Interesting secret. Very patient secret. Maria opened the folder carefully and went pale instantly. Inside were photographs of offshore prison barges, military transfer manifests, names of politicians, naval officers, private contractors, corporate executives. Interesting list. Very catastrophic list. Then Nathan found one final document beneath the stack. Blackwater Echo Survivor Report. Interesting report. Very buried report. He opened it slowly and froze immediately. Surviving operatives. Nathan Cross, Gabriel Vega, Ruiz, Atlas K-9 unit. Nathan stared at the page in disbelief. No. Maria looked confused. What? Nathan's voice barely worked anymore. They listed Atlas as an operative. Boom. There it is. Interesting dog. Very honored dog. Ruiz nodded quietly. Gabriel refused, leaving him behind. Interesting man. Very good man. Then Maria slowly looked up from the files. Eyes wide. There's another name. Nathan checked the document again. Last line. Project Director, Elias Thorne. Silence detonated through the service room. Interesting name. Very cursed name. Ruiz looked terrified instantly. No. Nathan frowned. You know him? Ruiz answered softly. He wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Bad sign. Very bad sign. Then every light inside the service room suddenly shut off. Darkness swallowed them instantly. And somewhere beyond the steel door, heavy footsteps stopped outside. The footsteps outside the service room didn't move. Interesting patience. Very dangerous patience. Atlas stood motionless near the steel door, listening carefully while emergency backup lights slowly flickered back online. Dim red glow. Warzone glow. Good dog. Very alert dog. Nathan raised the pistol again despite his shaking hands. Maria clutched the hidden files tightly against her chest. Ruiz whispered, "If it's Thorne." He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Interesting fear. Very real fear. Then came the voice through the steel door. Old. Calm. Educated. Terrifyingly calm. Gabriel always was sentimental. Silence crushed the room. Interesting voice. Very wrong voice. Atlas growled instantly. Deep. Violent. Ancient. Good dog. Very good instincts. Nathan's face hardened. Elias Thorne. Boom. There it is. The ghost. Interesting director. Very evil director. The voice continued. You should have stayed buried with the operation. Nathan shouted back. You trafficked children. Silence briefly. Then, no. Interesting answer. Very monstrous answer. I relocated strategic assets during unstable geopolitical periods. Good Lord. Interesting language. Very familiar monster language. Maria's eyes filled with fury. My brother died trying to stop you. The voice outside softened strangely. Gabriel Vega died because he chose emotion over national interest. Boom. There it is. Interesting philosophy. Very evil philosophy. Atlas barked violently at the door now. Protective fury. Good dog. Very loyal soul. Then Thorne calmly added. The dog remembers too much. Nathan finally understood everything. Interesting realization. Very horrifying realization. Atlas wasn't just a rescued combat dog. The German Shepherd had witnessed the offshore transfer operations himself. That's why Gabriel kept him alive. That's why the organization hunted him for decades. The dog was living evidence. Good Lord. Interesting dog. Very extraordinary dog. Then Thorne spoke again. Return the files and I let the woman live. Wrong sentence. Very wrong sentence. Atlas snarled immediately. Nathan's expression went cold. Not happening. The steel door suddenly boomed from outside. Explosive charges. Bad. Very bad. Ruiz looked around desperately. There's another exit. Interesting room. Very smart room. He pulled open an old maintenance hatch behind the server racks, revealing a narrow service tunnel descending beneath the terminal foundations. Nathan looked toward Maria. Take the files. She shook her head instantly. No. Interesting woman. Very brave woman. My brother hid this truth for 24 years. Boom. There it is. Interesting sister. Very strong sister. I'm not running from it now. Then the steel door exploded inward. Smoke flooded the room instantly. Black armored operatives stormed inside, and Atlas launched directly into them. Perfect impact. Good dog. Very good protector. Chaos detonated through the service room. Nathan fired twice. Ruiz tackled another operative into electrical panels. Sparks exploded everywhere. Warzone energy. Interesting terminal. Very doomed terminal. Then through the smoke, Elias Thorne himself entered slowly. Late 70s. Perfect gray suit. Cold dead eyes. Interesting man. Very empty man. He looked directly at Atlas fighting the operatives. No wonder Gabriel couldn't destroy him. Nathan's voice became ice. You killed my unit. Thorne calmly adjusted his cuffs. I preserved stability. Good lord. Interesting monster. Very dead monster. Then Maria stepped forward holding the files. Interesting. Very dangerous. You spent 24 years hunting janitors, veterans, and dogs. Boom. There it is. Interesting truth. Very ugly truth. Because you were afraid people would finally know what you did. Silence. Interesting silence. Very final silence. Then something unexpected happened. Travelers, terminal civilians, security staff, police, flooded into the lower service corridors behind them. Interesting crowd. Very angry crowd now. Because the terminal attack had triggered emergency broadcasts across Seattle. Phones recorded everything now. Live streams everywhere. Interesting world. Very difficult world to hide things in now. Thorne saw it instantly. And for the first time, fear appeared. Good. Very good. Atlas slowly walked back toward Maria and Nathan through the smoke. Bleeding slightly. Exhausted. Still standing. Good dog. Very good warrior. The German shepherd stopped directly beside Maria again and rested against her leg protectively. Just like he had with Gabriel. Interesting loyalty. Very beautiful loyalty. Police weapons surrounded Thorne and the surviving operatives within seconds. Finished. Good. Very finished. 3 months later, congressional hearings reopened Blackwater Echo publicly for the first time in history. Offshore trafficking sites were exposed. Military contractors arrested. Missing civilians finally identified. And Harbor Point Terminal? Interesting terminal. Very famous terminal now. Travelers still pass through every morning. But one thing changed forever. Near the waterfront entrance stood a bronze memorial plaque honoring Gabriel Vega and Blackwater Echo Unit. And every single day, a quiet janitor named Maria Vega walked past it pushing her cleaning cart while a retired Navy SEAL veteran drank coffee nearby with an old German shepherd sleeping peacefully beside his boots. No more hiding. No more running. No more buried truths. Interesting ending. Very deserved ending. One rainy Seattle morning, a little boy passing through the terminal finally asked Nathan the question everyone secretly wondered. How did your dog know the janitor was important? Nathan looked down at Atlas quietly. Interesting question. Very simple answer. Because good dogs never forget the people who saved them. And beneath the sound of rain against the terminal glass, Atlas gently rested his scarred head against Maria Vega's leg like he had finally found his way home again.